Alright, what's up everyone? So this video has been in the works for over a month, and people have been wondering why I didn't upload this video quicker, because I said in my last tutorial about 2 months ago that if that video got to 50 likes, then I would upload this one. And it got way over 50, so I do owe you all this video. Another thing is that I know in the last tutorial I promised that I would make an entire video explaining how to loop every single killer in one video, but instead I decided that I would make this into a series. So that would make this video part 1 of the series. And I do know that in the last tutorial, a lot of people wanted to see more looping tips, but I do need a reason to make another looping tutorial. And I'm gonna be honest, these tutorials are not easy, nor are they fun to make. But if that's what the people want, that's what the people are gonna get. So I'm gonna set the bar kind of high, and if this video gets to 500 likes, then I will make an in-depth looping tutorial. And believe me, it'll be worth it, because I have a lot of looping tips that nobody's ever talked about. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you all enjoy this new video and this new up-and-coming series. Alright, so starting off first, we got Trapper. Now, if I'm being honest, there's not really too much to Trapper. In solo queue, he can be kind of a hassle. The biggest thing to look out for Trapper is his trap placement. Check his trap placement and take notice of them. See if he's good at placing traps or bad at placing traps. If he's bad at placing traps, then you should be able to walk around them, because trappers will set their traps down at loops to prevent you from using them. What I like to do at the beginning of a match, when I look around and see traps on the floor, then I know that I am facing a trapper. So what I will do is I will go around and look for traps that have already been set, because if you're dealing with a good trapper, then the first thing he will do when he loads in is trap loops. He will not chase players right away. So if you are facing a good trapper, then that trapper's main priority will be trapping loops first. And trapping windows. Do not forget about windows. And a lot of trappers do like to trap up shack, especially if basement is in shack. Wraith. Okay, now Wraith is a killer that is all about mind games when it comes to him using his power. When he uncloaks, he gets a huge speed boost, and he can use that speed boost to outplay you or catch up to you and chase. The best advice I can give while facing a Wraith is to not camp pallets, because it is really easy for him to use his speed boost and hit you through the pallet. And also try to predict when he is going to swing through the pallet with his speed boost that he gets when uncloaking, and either dodge the hit by simply continue looping the loop or get a pallet stun. Now let's say you're looping a pallet and he outplays you, or you mess up the pallet stun, or he just somehow makes you drop the pallet and he doesn't uncloak. What you can do is you can vault the pallet repeatedly until he uncloaks. Now a lot of Wraiths will fake the uncloak just to get you to stop vaulting the pallet, so try not to be too gullible. If you notice that the Wraith is running through pallets carelessly, even while cloaked, take advantage of that. Because if you stun him while he is cloaked, then he will be stunned for a very long time, giving you time to get away. Last but very not least, do not fall for these silly mind games where they try to make you vault the window with their power. Do not vault the window until you are sure that he is going to commit to that side of the loop with the window and actually try to get the M1 without using his power. Billy. Now, there are a lot of ways to counter Billy's chainsaw, but one of the best ways is to use long loops. By using long loops, it will require the Billy to have to curve around the loop if he wants to get you down using his chainsaw. And for those of you who don't know, when Billy is curving around a loop trying to down a survivor, the survivor will not be in the Billy's FOV for most of the part. The Billy might have an idea of where the survivor is, but for most of the time, he will not have eyes on the survivor for a split second. This is because after using your chainsaw sprint as Billy, your camera control and movement becomes very limited, so use that to your advantage. If you see Billy's trying to curve around a loop, start going wide. That's only if he curves it tight though. Most Billys will curve the loop tight because they expect the survivors to hug the loop tight. So if you know that the Billy is going to curve the loop tight, what you can do is you can either go wide or you can dodge it. Now, one of the most important things to know about loops when you're facing Billy is loops like this that have dips in them. So if you do see a loop like this, you can tell the Billy is about to curve around the loop, you can crouch in the dip in the loop and dodge the chainsaw last second. And if you do it correctly, then it is impossible for the Billy to hit you with his chainsaw. Now, I do recommend that you crouch because there there are a lot of dips that if you do not crouch, then the Billy can still hit you. So yeah, that's the main key when using these dips. Make sure that you crouch. And I know it can sometimes be difficult to juke Billy's chainsaw, and not all maps are the same. So all it really comes down to is what you can think of in the moment while being chased. But here's some clips I put together of me juking Billy, and hopefully I can give you a better understanding of how to juke his power. Also, look out for cross map Billies. There's not really a real way to avoid a cross map Billy, but if you do get cross mapped by a Billy, that probably just means that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nurse, for the love of God, please start using pallets against Nurse if you're not already. I honestly don't get why I hear people say that pallets are useless against Nurse, because they are definitely not. I'm pretty sure the only reason people say that pallets are useless against Nurse, because in order to play a pallet against a Nurse, you gotta have really quick reaction time. So to start using pallets against Nurse, it gives yourself a lot more things to work with, other than just mind games, because that's pretty much what facing Nurse is. You gotta predict where they're gonna blink and what they're gonna do. The most important thing to be aware of when facing a Nurse is being aware of their play style. So just play around loops and tiles at the beginning of the match and learn their blink patterns. Let's go back and use this clip at Shack for example. So what you can see here is instead of the Nurse blinking through the Shack and trying to cut me off, she blinked to the corner of Shack to see if I was gonna double back and try to mind game her. So when she blinked around the corner, I waited a second to make her think that she got me, and then I double backed last second. The best tip that you can possibly give when it comes to facing a Nurse is to block line of sight at all times. Good ways to block line of sight is really just hiding behind anything. Hiding behind an object does not always mean that you are going to be stationary. You can hide behind an object while running away from the Nurse. Just block line of sight. Trees are a really good way of blocking line of sight, but probably the best way to block line of sight against a Nurse is running edge map. Now if you don't know what edge map is, it's literally just the edge of the map, and there's usually a lot of obstacles that the Nurse has to get around to hit you. So yeah, in my opinion, that's probably the best tip that I can possibly give when it comes to facing Nurse. Spirit. Okay, so Spirit is another killer that is all about mind games. When you're in chase with a Spirit, you should always keep your eyes on her. See when she stands still, because that's when you know that she's using her power. And you'll know when she's using her power because you'll hear it. One really good tip against facing Spirit when she's using her power is to walk and crouch. Be unpredictable when you start walking. Start walking away from the loop that you were just looping at. And don't mess up like I did just there. What I did wrong is I was moving in tall grass. And I don't know if you know, but when you move in tall grass or bushes, then it moves and it rats you out, because bushes and tall grass don't move by themselves. So obviously there would have to be a player that's moving it. So yeah, when you're trying to stealth from a Spirit, make sure that you stay away from anything like that. If you're playing on a map with nothing but tall grass, like Coldwind for example, your best bet is to probably just stop moving entirely and just crouch. Therefore you won't be making any noise or movement. Slow vaulting windows while the Spirit is phasing is one amazing way to throw her off and confuse her in chase. Now you can use pallets on the Spirit while she is phasing, but it is extremely difficult, unless if you have a good headset, of course. Because if you have a good headset, then the game will tell you which way the Spirit is coming from. It'll tell you if she's coming from the left or the right. You'll be able to hear it. If she's coming from the left, then you'll hear it in your left ear. If she's coming from the right, then you'll hear it in your right ear. So when you're facing Spirit, you really have to pay attention to the sound cues. But yeah, anyways, that's all the tips I got for Spirit, and that is the end of this video. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.